Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we'll be looking at Limitless Projects Inc. This filing is a bit like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but with even less hay. We've got the latest financial snapshot from Limitless Projects Inc. And let me tell you, it's sparse. This company is trying to build something in the software world, but the numbers are showing a very, very early stage. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and join our Discord community. It's the best place to dissect these filings with other savvy investors. Alright, let's get straight to the financials. If you look at their balance sheet for April 30, 2024 compared to July 31, 2023, you'll see some eye-opening numbers. First off, cash. They have a staggering $32. Yes, you heard that right, $32. This is the same amount they had at the end of their previous fiscal year back in July of 2023. That's not exactly a war chest for developing groundbreaking software. Their total current assets are also a lean $25,032 on both dates. This mostly consists of that $32 in cash and $25,000 in prepayments and deposits. Not exactly a lot of wiggle room there. Now, they do have some fixed assets, primarily in software, which stands at $371,769 on April 30, 2024. Up from $323, this increase is mostly due to more spending on software development. On the flip side, their liabilities are quite telling. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities are $547,533 as of April 30, 2024, a jump from $476,750 in July 2023. This means they owe more money to their suppliers and for general expenses. So their total liabilities have grown significantly, and it's important to note here that their total liabilities of $543,586,801. This means the company has a negative net worth at this point. Scroll accumulated deficit quote. Let's talk about their accumulated deficit. As of April 30, 2,240 through fourthing. 780 RAS since they started. This number grew from $774,504 at the end of the previous fiscal year. Looking at their statement of comprehensive loss, we see for the 9 months ending April 30, 2024, they reported a net loss of $21,836,176,176,107 they lost during the same period last year. That sounds like good news, right? Well, mostly. This loss primarily comes from general and administrative expenses. They spent $21,833 on these costs for the 9 months ending April 30, 2024, down from $76,107 last year. So they did cut down on those expenses, and the net loss per share, it's zero. This is because with so many shares outstanding, meaning 100,000 at 188,200 shares, any loss is spread so thinly that it rounds down to nothing. It's important to remember this isn't because they're profitable, but because of the sheer number of shares. Now, let's check the statement of stockholders' equity. For the 9 months ending April 30, 2024, the company had a net loss of $13,367 attributed to Limitless, and their minority interest also had a loss of $8,466 combined. This led to a total loss for the period and a shrinking of their overall equity. When we look at the start of the period, July 31, 2023, their total equity was a negative $124,946,782 by April 30, 2024. So their negative net worth actually got worse. The cash flow statement is where things get really interesting. For the 9 months ending April 30, 2024, their net cash provided by operating activities was $44,999. This sounds positive, but it comes from a net loss of $21,000 and $21,083, with the difference being an increase in accounts payable. Essentially, they spent less in cash but owe more. In investing activities, they used $44,999 for software development. This is where most of their spending is going, trying to build out their software products. Last year, they actually had a positive cash flow from investing, which is a bit confusing given their current situation. Financing activities show zero activity for the 9 months ending April 30, 2024, and the prior year as well. This means they haven't raised any new capital through stock sales or debt offerings recently. They're sort of on their own for now. Let's talk about what this company actually does. They're developing computer software systems and mobile device applications. They have a ride-hailing and food delivery app called Warp Speed Taxi and an employee monitoring software called Privacy and Value. However, it seems the Warp Speed Taxi venture didn't quite pan out. Interestingly, in June of 2025, they sold their entire stake in the Warp Speed Taxi Inc. for a mere $11,500. Given they had millions of shares, this implies a very low valuation for that business venture, suggesting it wasn't going anywhere. Their main focus now seems to be on the privacy and value employee monitoring software. They plan to license this to other companies rather than selling it directly. The software aims to strike a balance between monitoring employee productivity and respecting employee privacy, a tricky needle to thread. It's worth noting that because Limitless Projects Inc. is a smaller reporting company, they are exempt from disclosing certain detailed information, like risk factors and market risk disclosures. This can make it harder to get a full picture of their potential downsides. Now, let's touch on their internal controls. Management has assessed their internal control over financial reporting and concluded that as of April 30, 2024, these controls are not effective. This is a significant red flag, suggesting potential weaknesses in how they manage their financial information and reporting. Attached to this report, you'll find certifications from their principal executive and financial officers, which are standard for these filings. These certifications basically confirm that they've reviewed the report and believe the information is accurate, despite the acknowledged control issues. Now, for my take on Limitless Projects Inc., honestly, this company is at the very, very beginning of its journey, and the financials reflect that. They have almost no cash, growing liabilities, and a substantial accumulated deficit. The fact that they are selling their entire stake in the Warp Speed Taxi venture for such a low amount suggests that this was not a successful project. Their future hinges almost entirely on the success of the privacy and value software. They are aiming for a business model where they license the technology to others, which could be a smart move to avoid heavy marketing and sales costs. However, it also means their revenue growth will depend heavily on the success of their partners. The lack of effective internal controls is also a major concern. It means there's a high risk of errors or misstatements in their financial reporting, which is never a good sign for investors. Overall, Limitless Projects Inc. is a highly speculative company. The numbers show a company struggling for fundamentals, with a lot of hope pinned on a single software product. They're in a precarious position, and any investment in a company like this would be a high-risk gamble. Alright, that's our breakdown of Limitless Projects Inc.'s latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.